I've always believed that online debates over anything vaguely controversial are a waste of space, as they quickly descend into slanging matches. I want today to explore, can we really listen to each other and change our minds, or at least modify our perspectives? I'm Andrew Morris, and this is 700 Days to Live, your passport to curiosity, big ideas, and global citizenship in a world that won't stop changing. Online debates fueled by the reach of digital platforms give us an unprecedented opportunity for encountering diverse perspectives. The question, however, is whether these exchanges truly change our minds or instead entrench us further in what we already believe. So today I want to explore the reality behind online debates, the distinction between adopting new beliefs versus modifying existing ones, and the critical importance of listening and learning in a group like this. Let me give one example that's close to home. The debate I started about the freelancer who happened to be female the other day. Personally, I learned quite a lot from the contributions, even though I didn't abandon all my beliefs. I discovered that my intentions might not be perceived as necessarily honourable just because I think they are, and that women of whatever age and background carry a collective awareness learned the hard way, which comes into play the moment any man approaches. And I did so by listening to women from a variety of countries and cultures. At times, I thought the issues presented were a little black and white and adopted for the sake of taking a stance. I mean, we've all said things on occasions to make a point which we don't actually believe or practice in our own lives. But it certainly provided some shades of grey, although not necessarily 50, and definitely gave me pause for thought in my ongoing journey to becoming what feminists call an ally, which is as much as a man can ever be, given millennia of patriarchy. So for me, that was a successful example of an online discussion. I can't speak for anyone else, but I feel the richer for it. And that's exactly what I hope for in a group like this. So let's talk about the challenge of changing minds. Despite the optimism that social media and online forums might foster meaningful deliberation, empirical evidence shows that online political debates rarely lead to substantial changes in core attitudes. Research has shown that tone, justification style, evidence-based versus emotional, and a willingness to compromise can significantly improve the quality of a discussion and the openness of the participants to alternative viewpoints. However, these positive shifts in discourse do not typically translate into a reversal or fundamental shift in your viewpoint. Instead, heated or high-stakes debates on contentious issues most often result in people emerging with their original convictions intact, sometimes even more entrenched than before. What is crucial here is recognizing the close correlation between the quality of the conversation and its persuasive power. Discussions marked by civility, evidence, and mutual respect foster high-quality exchanges. These elements can reduce polarization and promote understanding, even if they don't guarantee a genuine change in position on the debated issue. The key takeaway is that while online debates can improve how people relate to each other across divides, persuasion in the sense of transformation is rare, although not unheard of. To tease out the nuances of change, it's important to distinguish between adopting a wholly new framework and modifying an existing worldview. Adopting a new view implies a deep, possibly value-driven shift, a change in the underlying principles or loyalties. Modification, in contrast, might involve the integration of new information, recognition of nuance, or softening of a previously rigid stance. Studies of online education debate formats highlight this nuance. While debates can sharpen critical thinking skills, encourage collaboration, and improve understanding of complex issues, most participants report refining, not replacing, their initial opinions. Students, for instance, often leave a debate with enhanced reasoning skills and empathy for opposing views, but not a dramatic shift in outlook. But let's take heart in that the ability to nuance a belief or to accept complexity without capitulating is in itself an intellectual achievement. If changing minds is so uncommon, why bother debating online at all? Well, the answer lies in the transformative power of listening and learning. Again, research shows that respectful, evidence-based argumentation and an openness to compromise have significant spillover benefits. They make interlocutors seem more open-minded, respectful, and well-informed, and can even prompt similar behavior in others. While these don't always alter deeply rooted views, they can foster engagement, reduce hostility, and widen the scope of acceptable discourse. Online debates are valuable not only for their potential to persuade, but also for their capacity to cultivate intellectual humility and willingness to learn. So maybe we need to shift our perspective on how online debates are valued. Rather than measuring success solely by whether positions change, it's more productive to focus on the quality of engagement and the willingness to consider complexities. Debate, at its best, is not about winning, but about learning, an invitation to reflect on our views and, even if only incrementally, to grow more thoughtful and open-minded. So, to sum up, I'd say that the true promise of online debate is not to flip opinions overnight, but to encourage careful listening, respectful engagement, and perpetual learning. The next time a heated online discussion unfolds, consider, is the goal to triumph or to understand? Only by embracing listening and seeing the other as core virtues can digital discussion really achieve its goal. You know, I really enjoy sharing these insights with you. I've been around the world a few times, both literally and metaphorically, and now I'm inviting all of you to explore it with me as part of a global community with no age, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, or culture barriers. Join the journey to a world without borders at 700 Days to Live on social media and at 700daystolive.com. And if you want the inside scoop, sign up to our circle group either in the bio below or in the comments. And finally, talking of comments, I'd love to hear what you have to say or if you have a similar journey to share.